Dayton Flyers had a big week on the hardwood. Down 13 points at halftime against St. Louis, UD stormed back to beat the Billikens 75-67 to close out the regular season at home. 5 Flyers were in double figures, and Enoch Cheeks led the way with 17 points and 9 rebounds. 5 Flyers were in double figures again on Friday night, and UD beat VCU 79-76 to spoil the Rams' senior night. Javon Bennett had 22 points and 5 made threes, as Dayton was the only team to beat VCU on their home floor this year. Anthony Grant's group enters the Atlantic 10 Championships as the number 3 seed this week in Washington, D.C. Dayton women picked up a second-round victory in the A10 Championships with a 60-45 win over LaSalle Thursday night in Virginia. 4 Flyers were in double figures, and UD grabbed win number 18 on the year. The Flyers were bounced from the tournament on Friday when they lost in the quarterfinal to Davidson 56-36. It was a busy week for Dayton baseball, played 5 games. The Flyers fell on Tuesday 6-4 to Bellarmine and lost Wednesday 14-4 to Bowling Green, but grabbed a 7-1 victory Friday to start the weekend series against the Bryant Bulldogs. Chris Peguero gave the Flyers 7 strong innings, and the FlyBoys picked up another win on Saturday in a 10-8 decision. They fell Sunday to Bryant 7-4. Women's tennis got even on the season when they recorded their 7th win this year, beating IU Indy 5-2. Dayton softball fell on Monday to the number 1 team in the country, and it was a 6-1 decision against Texas, playing at Ohio State. This week we focus our attention back on the court, where the Flyers might have played their last home game for the regular season at UD Arena, but the action is just picking up for the venue that has hosted the most NCAA tournament games in history. We talk with UD Arena Executive Director Scott DeBolt about the First Four, Ohio high school basketball, and WGI.
March every year is a little bit different depending on how many games we're playing between the end of the regular season for the men's and women's program, high school, sectional, district, regional, and then we get to the state games, the First Four, and for example, last year we had 43 basketball games in 23 days in the month of March. This year we only have 20 and 12. So, 20 and 12 is still quite a few and all that, but they're marquee games with the reorganization of OHSA to 7 divisions. We weren't able to host as many sectional and regional games as we have in the past, but we're concentrating on those OHSA and March game and First Four games.
I'm sure it does make things a little bit easier, and what we saw of last game for Dayton,
yep,
in that Tuesday showcase against St. Louis to where we're going now.
Yep.
Is it fair to say that you've gotten more time than what you've had here in a long time?
We have. It's always been a quick transition because, again, we transformed the building for the OHSA Girls and Boys State Championship to the First Four setup before. So they get to experience the exact same setup that those 8 teams that come in for the NCAA First Four, the same large press conference area with the big dais, the locker room setup, the court setup, the media setup, and all that. So it's that big time feel for the high school state championships.
Yeah, and I want you to maybe go into that a little bit in detail, because people see what the floor looks like. Mm-hmm. But there's so much action, and there's the transformation that happens behind the scenes. I mean, it is extensive.
Yeah. So for example, for this year, for the girls tournament, we'll have the games on Friday and Saturday, 3 games on Friday and 4 games on Saturday. And then Sunday, Selection Sunday, we start the transformation for the First Four. So we start first thing in the morning, we take out our court, we bring in the NCAA First Four court, we flip the benches, we flip the press row and do that. We put up all the NCAA signage, do that, and then we sit around and we wait for those announcement at 6 o'clock and find out the 8 teams that are coming here. And then we got open practice on Monday night, open practice on Tuesday noon, and then the doubleheaders on Tuesday and the doubleheaders on Wednesday, and the teams head out, and then Thursday we do the reverse of that, and we pull out the NCAA floor, we put in our court, take down all the signage, put all the OHSAA stuff back up, and then we got 3 games on Friday and 4 games on Saturday for the boys state tournament.
My, and it is a blur. And from the start all the way to the finish, I'm sure it feels fast, but does it also feel like the longest week of the year?
It does. It's long days and short nights and doing that, but again, that's what we do. UD Arena was built for the community and to be used by the community, and we have such a rich history of a strong fan base here, not only locally for the state championships, but statewide and nationwide for the first 4 and everything. So there's just so much pride that we take in hosting that every year, and again, we've hosted more NCAA tournament games than any other building in the country.
This entire interview will be available on Thursday at noon on Spotify, Apple Music, and our YouTube channel at Dayton Flyers. The week begins with men's golf, who's wrapping up play today in Southern Pines, North Carolina, at Mid Pines Golf Club for the Donald Ross Collegiate, hosted by George Mason. Dayton baseball is back in action this afternoon, 2 o'clock start, as the FlyBoys visit Akron. A10 play begins this weekend when Dayton will play at George Mason Friday and Saturday at 3 o'clock, wrap up the series Sunday at 2. Dayton softball will play Stonehill College at home on Wednesday with first pitch at 3 p.m. UD starts the conference season at home Saturday for a doubleheader with the first game at noon. St. Louis is the opponent, and that series wraps up Sunday at 12 o'clock. Women's tennis travels south to take on Western Kentucky Saturday, Tennessee State on Sunday. Men's tennis returns to action this week at home against Tennessee State Friday, and then they travel south to Cincinnati to take on Xavier for Sunday. And finally, men's basketball, the A10 Championships. They begin this week, and the Flyers get a double bye. They'll play Friday night in our nation's capital. Tip time, 7:30. For more information on Dayton Athletics, visit DaytonFlyers.com and follow us on social media at Dayton Flyers.